Oh, all right. It was a rough way to go down in the finale. There are reasons why we lost this series. And there are reasons to think we're just fine, guys. And we're just fine, guys. All right. Welcome to the Habit Hunter A's podcast and the House Always Wins podcast network. I'm Tim Burns, and you can call me Hobbs. I'm a sports writer covering the athletics for the guys at Mid-Valley Sports out of Los Angeles, where I cover the amazing A's as well as the entire NFL desk. You can find me at Sacktown A's Fans for Life on X and this, the Habit Hunter podcast. Now, Habit Hunter is a show that reviews each series. We analyze trends, tendencies, both good and bad. We cover what players are trending up or down, and we analyze the moves management and ownership make. We identify problems that A's players might be developing over time and look for solutions, possible solutions. We talk about them, we argue about them, and we identify these trends. And we have already. We saw Luis Morales' arm issues weeks before he was sent down to AAA for a tune-up. We saw that coming. And together, you guys and me, we're the Habit Hunters. And remember to click like and subscribe. I know everybody asks that. I do. It does keep a massive amount of A's content in the algorithm. You got to check out all the shows on this network. It's not just me. There's a dozen other shows on the House Always Wins podcast network, and some really smart, talented guys who love the game of baseball, who play the game of baseball, have unlimited knowledge. I'm learning stuff from them every time I talk to them. I'm learning something. We do a roll call at the end of this show, and we go over how the players and the team has done on the homestand and against St. Louis. So hang out until the end. That's where your input is really needed. Roll call is my favorite part of the show at the end because it lets us see the bigger picture and how we look over the long haul, or maybe over a series or the homestand, that kind of thing. So let's get to the breakdown of the Cardinals series. And it was a little rough. It was a little rough, and I know what you're thinking, but don't worry about it. In the end, we still lead in the AL West, guys. And I did predict a 1-2 series against St. Louis. So while I may bring up specific things I think that we have to work on as the A's, this was kind of how I saw the series was going to go. I mean, I even thought today was going to be the loss. You know, we just played with house money, getting ahead there a few times and lost in the end. But again, the series had some predictability about it. I mean, the A's have lost 9 of 13 home openers, or openers to a series. There's no rhyme or reason to it, but it's happening. It's happening. We have a problem going into a town, and we have a problem going home. We seem to lose that first game for some reason. Other than matchups, it's a strange pattern. Considering we win more series than we lose, it's a strange pattern. We are used to talking about the bad game first, right? So let's get into it. The opener, it started out as bad as they come. It was a glorious amount of, right? Jeffrey Springs did not start the homestand on a good note. I'm telling you. I was there yesterday, too, and we'll talk about that. For Jeffrey Springs, the first 3 guys reached base and the first 3 scored. That's how it went. Springs walked the first batter on 4 pitches. Then he went single, 1-0. Thank you, Jordan Walker. I mean, that guy's a beast. And, he handles us again today as well. But in the end, Springs actually settled down. But in this particular inning, 3 batters later, Jose Fermin, he hits a 2-run double. And we were down 3-0 already. It was a horrible, horrible start. 8 to the plate isn't going to cut it to start off a series. And oddly enough, they sent 8 to the plate today to come from behind and win in the 9th. So they got us at both ends of the series. The next batter, Yohel Pozo, he went down 0-2, but he had an RBI single, and now we're down 4-0. It's like, ugh. 3 of the 4 hits on Springs were on Springs' changeup, I noticed at this point. So he wasn't fooling anyone with it. He did have to change up, and he did. He started using it less and actually kind of settled down after that first inning. But as for the bats, Kurtz and Rooker, they both walked in the first. And while nothing came of that, Two things. First, Kurtz is seeing the ball better, period. And I originally literally wrote this after that game, after the first game of the series, and not even knowing what he was going to do. The game I went and saw yesterday, and then today, he had a monster series. He's actually having a monster month, and stick around for the end because in roll call we're going to go over that, and a lot of these guys are having monster Mays. Outstanding. Second, Rooker. He's being more selective, and it shows. Hard contact. While he doesn't get hits in the opener, he did walk twice. And that shows he can look at some pitches. And, he was free swinging at everything early on. Remember that? It was everything was a swing, and a fly, or a swing, and another swing. And he was done. Remember, he was batting 114. That was the result of that free swinging, He's gone on board in the second, but the inning started poorly. 2 quick outs after 0-2 counts. But my favorite dude, the rally starter, Daryl Hernandez, came through with a 2-out single. And I jested that a little bit. If you've been here before, Daryl kind of irritates me sometimes, but he had a really good series. After him, Jeff McNeil singled, and Kurtz came through with an RBI single of his own, and we're on the board. Now, Big Papa Shea, he rocks a 2-run double, and just like that, we're back in it. We're only down 4-3. Great 2-out rally, but that was basically about it for the A's at the plate. Andrew Palante, the card starter, lasted 5 innings. He allowed 3 runs. He took the win. Now, like I said, Spring settled in after the bad inning. He had traffic nearly every inning, but he started controlling the at-bats better. I looked it over. 7 of the last dozen batters Springs faced, he got the batter down 0-2. So, he was controlling things a little bit better. People were still getting, hits off of those 0-2 counts, but he was getting control over most of them. He K'd 2 in the second. He left Ivan Herrera stranded after a single. Mason Wynn singled off Springs in the third. Reached third base on Hernandez's error. If you guys saw that, it was brutal. Our defense is shaky as hell right now. I'm going to try not to dwell on it, but we literally had 2 errors in one play today. It's we got to expect it. I mean, look, half of these guys weren't even on the, we weren't even supposed to be here. They weren't even guys that were playing on the roster, when the season began. A lot of AAA guys, a lot of guys that came up early. We got to expect this kind of thing. We were already a little shaky, right? I was hoping that, if we gave Cortez some time, he'd improve. And, he has his moments, just like Thomas. He had his moments where he was horrible at the game I saw. And then he has a great play. I don't know. Sometimes the A's just look really uncomfortable out there. Sodi looks like he's, a flopping giraffe 1 minute, and then he's, robbing extra bases the next, Butler's a mess, Like I said, Thomas had the good play Wednesday night at the right field fence, but it only made up for the bad play earlier, right? Springs got out of third, striking out Nathan Church, which was great. One thing Springs has, there's a big speed differential from the slider, which is 82, 81, right around there. And he's popping that 4-seam right afterwards, and it's coming in 11 miles an hour more. He had people off. He had 0-2 counts to 8 of the Cardinals in his outing. And the pitching staff as a whole had 12 0-2 counts. But oddly enough, like I said, St. Louis hit 416 when they're down 0-2 in the count. That's odd. I don't think that usually happens, because I've done this metric before and I've never seen it do that. So, yeah, that was a little strange. Springs had a 1-2-3 fourth with a 3-pitch K, but the fifth was an adventure for Springs. And I give Kotze his due. He didn't try to get one more out from this guy. And, I always say he always wants one more out. Leaves him in 1 too long. 1 out, 1 pitcher, one batter too long. Not this time. He took care of it, man. He saw what was coming, and he pulled. Jordan Walker walked after seeing 4 consecutive balls in a row from Springs. Alec Burleson hit the next pitch for a single. Springs snagged Walker trying to steal. Again, we're getting outs like this often. It mitigates the high base traffic. He did walk Furman to put 2 on again, but got out of the inning. Now, Springs also went 5 innings, like I said. 7 hits, 3 walks, 4 Ks, 4 earned. He took the loss, 3-3. We don't know which guy we're going to get sometimes with him. 4.22 ERA after the game. Now, Joel Kunal, we don't know which one we're getting from him either. He took over for Springs in the 6th. After Nolan Gorman's single, Joe left a cutter over too much of the plate, a little up high, a little outside, and Weatherholt smacked a 2-run bomb, and that hurt a lot. Why? Because that was a difference in the game, right? Brooks Kriske, he induced an inning-ending ground out to end the 6th. And he stays in for a really good 1-2-3 7th, which was cool. He was pulled after 1 out in the 8th for Scott Barlow. That was what it was. Barlow started his appearance pretty much like Springs did, 4-pitch walk to start with the first guy he sees and a single to follow that up. But a strikeout did save any scoring, unlike Springs was earlier, right? Basically, on offense from Langeliers, 2-run double in the 2nd until like top of the 8th inning. The only marks on the scorecard was 1 walk to Cortez in the 3rd and a walk to Rooker, his 2nd one, right, in the 6th. Otherwise, crickets, nothing. Shea Langeliers, he hit his 100th home run, which is outstanding. So early. It was a moonshot, too. 108.1 off the bat, 448, and that went all the way to the clubhouse roof. That was a monster shot. But that was all. That was it for the scoring. That was it. The 9th was frustrating because, we did have a what the moment. The 9th was frustrating because Butler walked to start the inning. So tying run was at the plate with no outs, right? And here's the what the moment, right? I have to ask Booney if I can use the F word on this show. Because I need to use that one on this one. He pulls up Henry freaking Bolte from AAA, who's went global thermonuclear, right? Batting like 650 over the prior dozen games or whatever it was. He had 12 consecutive hits. Crazy ass stats, man. And this is the kind of moment that you promote a guy for. I don't care who's pitching against him. The guy was 12 for 12, right? Why would you promote this guy? Because he's a hot hitter that's seeing everything, right? And this was the moment, right? Wrong. Cott sent the backup catcher in. I know, Jonah Heim. He sent him to the plate, and I love Jonah Heim. I'm glad he's back. I don't like the offers, but, he's going to work that out. But why? You're bringing Jonah Heim in, who gets sporadic at bats, right? Instead of the guy who has 2 5-for-5 games, 2 homer games in the last 7 days. I mean, what are you doing, Kotze? That was just the guy said it on our chat, and I heard him say it, and I'm like, but they have to be joking. They have to be joking because it turns out, it ended up the guys on the broadcast were saying the same thing, that he was on deck, and I'm like, oh my, are you kidding me? Why? And so what did he do? He hit into a double play. It's just a head scratcher. Why? Why would you do that? A guy who hasn't been hitting, hasn't had any ABs, versus the guy who's seeing everything and hitting it far. Right? He has the longest home run in Major League Baseball this year, 478, something like that. He should have been in that at bat. Somebody should have been in that bat. Wednesday's game was a blast. I'm gonna tell you, I was there. Boney was there. Got to meet him. Fantastic. Went with my 26-year-old. We saw Booney. He's the architect of the network, and it was great to see him shake his hand. I'm telling you, gotta be honest. I saw 3 full-on tailgaters in the parking lot run by Cardinal fan. I'm not shitting you. Huge ones too, like 4 and 5 vehicles. Smelled good too, but had to get in. Anyway, I would say it was probably 60-40 St. Louis fans, which was sad. When Weatherholt hit Ginn's first pitch for a single, I was surprised at how loud the visitors were. I mean, in the end, the A's drowned him out, which was cool because there was like old school heckling going on, which was awesome. When I was at SDSU, the school gym was kind of cresting on top of the hill, and the baseball diamond was in a bowl, kind of a sunken bowl area alongside the gym. And there was a fan base there. We'd sit down there and we'd hang off the walkway, just sit on the walkway on the cement and heckle the visitors' bullpen down below, right? And we were called Raggers Rail. And we actually made it in Playboy magazine as amongst the most obnoxious, hard to believe, right? Most obnoxious, rowdiest college fans. We were among that group, and we made the list or something. It was kind of like that on Wednesday. A lot of yelling. It did get to the starter, and Boney can attest to it because people, I mean, old dudes like me, youngsters, everybody was yelling at this guy, and it got to him. First 3 innings for the A's at the plate, though, were a mixed bag. The hits were coming. I mean, we could hear the outs. We were right there, right? Row 13. Outs were quick. Outs were hard. They were hitting them. They just hitting them at everybody, right? It should have been even more scoring. A's went 1, 2, 3 in the first and just 7 pitches, right? That's kind of how it went because everything was being hit at everybody. I got to see Henry Bolte get his first major league hit, though, which was really cool with a 1-out single in the second. But the A's were retired on just 10 pitches. He was left on base, just 10 pitches. So I was putting those together so you could see, 17 pitches got through the first two innings. The third started promising. We had back-to-back singles. Hernandez, right? Hernandez. And recently promoted Michael Stefanik. I had heard he might come up, and I was like, that would actually kind of be cool. I like him. I liked him in spring training. He had singled too, so he put two on, nobody out for Shea. And then Stefanik gets what I've come to call butleritis. He got picked off first base, which I don't know what that is. It boggles the mind, right? You guys, let me know what you're seeing. To me, it's just lack of focus, right? They're not dumb. It's not like they haven't played the game before. Are they bored? I don't know. It's a lack of focus, and I kind of put that on their coach. I'm not going to rank him for it, but you see what I mean? It could be because it's a reoccurring thing. It's like they're not doing anything about it because it keeps happening, right? So it doesn't seem to be being addressed in the proper manner. Maybe start fining these guys. I don't know if that's legal. You guys tell me. Maybe I'll look it up later. But they can't be over there watching bugs and looking at planes go by and seeing what the batting average is of the guy that's next up. Pay attention, guys. Don't look at your replay. You're gonna get picked off because you guys keep getting picked off. All right. Ran over. Langeliers, he lines into a double play. Yeah, that's an ending that I didn't want to a pretty good start to the inning, right? The Cards started the fourth, back-to-back singles, Gorman and Wim. Thomas, it was his turn to do the air. This is what I was talking about. Nathan Church, he has an RBI single and scores first run because when Thomas aired, both Gorman and Wynn got to advance 90 feet, right? Pedro Pajes, he struck out on 3 pitches, and Wynn got picked, stealing home another random out. I'm telling you, we do, even though we get picked off a lot, it seems like this year we're nailing people on the base pass one way or another, whether it's the catcher doing it or the pitcher doing it or whatever, or having the throw-in come in and nail somebody at the plate, that kind of thing. It seems like we're getting those kind of extra outs, And we need those. We need those because we're in a lot of one-run games, and we need that kind of thing. Those little things is what changes the one-run games, That gives us our other opportunity to score, right? Rooker hit a 2-out single, 103 off the bat. Bolte followed. He had a second hit of the day, batting 1,000. But I'm struck out. Probably should have checked that out, huh? Again, allowed a single in the 5th, but they didn't score. And the A's kind of woke up after that. In the bottom half of the 5th, this was the fun inning. 43 pitches. 9 guys came to the plate for the A's in the 5th. After Hernandez and Stefanik, again, back-to-back singles. Again. Love that. It was almost like, remember earlier when it was Wilson and McNeil, and you always saw those two back-to-back singles or single-double or walk-double or walk-single, that kind of thing. Error-double, that kind of thing. These two are at it, right? That's kind of cool. Shea walked to load the bases right after that. And Mickey Fourbags hits a grand slam, 4-1 lead. Nick Kurtz, what a stud. What a stud. Hitting hard now. And he hits one today, too. And remember, he hits them in bunches. Remember, he went like 17 games to start last year where he didn't hit a home run. A lot of people forget about that. He went a long time before he ever got around to hitting a home run. But once he did, it was boom, just little blotches. He had 4 in one game, so obviously he can get him in bunches. So I'm thinking he's gonna. It's warm here. I'm in Sacramento, so it's nice and warm. It was 90, 93 yesterday, something like that. I don't know how hot it got today, but it was beautiful. The crowd lost his damn mind though when he hit it. A fan that was next to me, he actually got the home run live too. So he got a different angle from along the third base line. It was pretty cool. Got my reaction on it. I went a little nuts. It was pretty cool. I think Booney might try to put that in the intro. Not sure yet. Ginn allowed another single to Church, but Heim snagged him trying to steal second base. Love the free outs. I call them free outs. Ginn went 6 innings. He was busy all game, giving up 9 hits, walked 1. He struck out 3. He only gave up 1 unearned, right? And he's 2-1, 3.12 ERA. Hernandez, he hit his 3rd consecutive single. That's really crazy. In the bottom of the 6th, he didn't score, but man, it was like by the 3rd single, I was going, wow, he just turned this around. He had a good series. Pedro Pajes, he singled and later scored on a sac fly on their side by Weatherholt, who bothered us the whole series. 4-2 game at that point. The A's final runs in the 7th. Kurtz led off with a double. Colby single. Now, Bolte, he finished off a great day. He had an RBI sac fly. He did the little thing. He had already shredded. And, he went ahead and got an RBI to finish off the day. It was a beautiful day for him. Beautiful series. In the 8th, Geloff led off with a solo shot, and that's the final score, 62. On the reliever side of things, A's relievers, Luis Medina had a really good. He threw a hitless 8th. Jack Perkins, he worked a scoreless 9th. Jack Perkins killed us today, but he worked a scoreless 9th in the middle game. Got a win. Kurtz went 2 for 4, a couple of runs, 4 RBIs. He had the double and a grand slam. Hernandez 3 for 4 with a run, outstanding. Bolte, his first day, he got to go home and go to bed with 1,000. He got to go to bed with a perfect batting average. That's pretty cool. Career batting average 1,000. Not bad. Stefanik, his first day, 2 for 4, and Kobe Thomas. Now look at these names. These guys are going to work here. We weren't expecting these 3 of the 4 to even be playing, right? Kobe Thomas, 2 for 4. Not bad. Now I know this one hurts. But I'm going to be honest. The fact we came back today, and the fact that I kind of had already penciled in today's matchup as a probable L. If we were going to lose the game, we were going to lose this one, for sure. It kind of numbs it because I kind of had a feeling it was going to roll like this. It just hurts that we actually had the lead 1 pitch. We'll get through it though. The finale scoring began on the A side. First, Kurtz led off with a rocket. Like I said, he hit some in bunches. He hit one off of Michael McGreevy, the starter, 442, 111.8 off the bat. 1-0. Nice start. Shea singled, but then Sodi hits into a double play. We got to talk about Sodi. Rooker then doubled, and they didn't score again in that inning. In fact, after a one-out single by Geloff in the second, the A's went hitless all the way up until Shea led off the sixth with a single. Meanwhile, Victor Scott, the second, he tied it. He had a solo home run in the fifth. And Lopez, he serves up another homer to Jordan Walker to open the sixth, and he starts to unravel at that point. I mean, he had a nice run in there where I don't remember how many outs, 9 outs. Everything was rolling nicely. Things unraveled for Lopez. Wins hit this little dribbler back to Lopez, who turns and he throws it away. And then the throw came into second base. That one was thrown away. I mean, we had E1, E4 on the same play. It's horrible. Guy ended up on third base, nobody out after a solo home run. It just kind of unraveled from there. Gorman loops a single. And, it's pretty much over for Lopez at that point. He's only down 3-1. He was actually, aside of the 2 solos, I think he had one other hit before that. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 2 Ks, and 2 unearned? Yeah. I think there's 3 runs, 2 unearned. Justin Sterner, he took over with still nobody out, and he saved the butt. He induced the fly out, and then he got a double play. And it kept it at 3-1. Zach Geloff, he went yard, 1 out in the sixth. His fifth, 103.8 off the bat, 401. We're hitting some long home runs to bring it within 3-2. McNeil walked and Butler was gonna hit. They did a switch, and Colby Thomas ended up taking the at bat. He singled. Kurtz dropped a single and left to load him up. Langeliers, he hits a 2-run single up the middle. A's are up 4-3. I'm thinking great. Rooker walked. He loaded the bases, but they didn't score again. And that bites him. 9 A's came to the plate. Mark Leiter, I'm always afraid of him. He had a nice 1-2-3 seventh with 2 Ks. He had a good outing. Scott Barlow was given the 8th. He allowed a 1-out double to Mason Wynn, but he got the next 2 batters to give the 9th to Jack Perkins. I'll talk about that in a second. Bolte started the bottom of the 8th with a single. He stole his first career base. What a series for this guy, right? But he didn't score either. That too kind of bites the A's in the butt because he was on second base. That was our opportunity to get that insurance run, and we needed that run, right? Because Perkins blew the game. He gave up a leadoff single to Pozo, and he full count hits Weatherholt. It's like, dude, what are you doing? RBI single for Ivan Herrera and Walker. Jordan Walker got us all series. He doubles in a run. A's are losing 5-4. I mean, they did so on consecutive pitches too. It's just like, he hits the dude, and then the next guy gets the RBI single, and then the next pitch gets the RBI double. It's just painful to watch. Ugh. So it's basically over. So they go with Joel Kuhnel. He hits the next guy, loads him up, ends the inning after that, though. I kind of expected Kuhnel in the 9th, but I'm sure there's a deep metric that's carried, or just probably a basic metric that says, you probably should have this guy versus that guy. But I was actually expecting Kuhnel primarily because Perkins pitched last night. He pitched the 9th, and Kuhnel didn't pitch till he was the first guy out of the gate to start out of the pen to start the series. So I figured it was going to be him, but it wasn't. I don't have a problem with it. It's just something I had noted. That's what I had expected. It didn't come out that way. I don't have a problem with the decision, though. We let A's eight Cardinals come to the plate in the 9th. That's embarrassing to just blow up like that in the 9th. I mean, we were 1 strike away with a lead, and Perkins melted down. I feel bad for the guy. I like the guy. He's going to straighten it out. I have firm belief in that. But when he struggles in bunches. When he does well in bunches too. So I hope he turns it around. A's made it interesting when Kurtz led off the bottom of the ninth with a hit by pitch, right? Nothing came of it. It's a frustrating way to lose, right? It was interesting because, we had an opportunity to push a run across, but we didn't, of course not, we lost the series. It was basically we lack of execution, right? There were some frustrating decisions, but lack of execution. Now it's time for roll call, my favorite part, right? It's what I like. Let me take a sip. See how we're doing as a team, right? See how the bats are doing. We're 22 and 21. We're a game ahead in the AL West. Okay, so we lost the game. We lost 2 or 3 in this series. I expected it. And we just matched up, and I just kind of felt like they had the upper hand on us this time around. What did our bats do? So far this homestand, 29 for 101. That's 287. That's pretty good. That's not. We've had some nice mid 300s series too, but this one's pretty good. 4 doubles, 5 home runs. We drew 10 walks, but we did strike out 27 times. Now that's 9 per game. We had 69 in 6 games in the road trip. We might want to lower the number of strikeouts a little bit. But the team came in averaging 249. That's 7th in baseball. After the weekend, we're batting about the same, 252, 5th in baseball. Now, as I said on the last show, we're plateauing at the plate. We're kind of hovering around this 250 area for about the last 5 series. The team ERA was horrible. Well, it's always horrible. 4.42 going into the road trip that we had, and it was trending down. And you fast forward to now, we're at 4.36, and I know that's not much of a change, but it's dropped for the second series in a row, and that's pretty good for us. We're usually pulling 4.8, 4.7, 4.9, that kind of thing. Starters, they went 16 innings. They only gave up 6 earned runs. That's a 3.38. Now that's more than before than the last series, but they had a good run there where it was down in the high 1s, low 2s, that kind of thing. Relievers won 11 innings. They gave up 5 earned, 4.09. That's nearly 6 runs off of the ERA from the last series, right? And we won that one. So, it's an improvement, definitely. Individually, Shea had his recent 10-game hitting streak. He's batting 378 in May, 14 for 37, 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. He's second in baseball right now. He's crept up. Other guys dropped off. He's batting 340, second in baseball. This man's going to make $50 million a year. 12 home runs. He's 8th in baseball in that, too. He has 20 multi-hit games. That's legit. He's a legit MVP. I would say he's one of the top 4 guys in baseball right now because they got to throw in the fact that he's a catcher, right? Kurtz, he's hitting 340 in May. He batted 500 in the series, right? He had a couple home runs, 6 RBIs, a double, some walks, He has that on-base streak, but we lost, so I'm not checking. But I believe the streak continues. Sodi, he continues his struggles from the Baltimore series. 1 for his last 22 in the last 2 series. That's not very good. In spite of the power, I said it this last time, Cott has to move him down the lineup. You can't have a guy 1 for 22 batting cleanup or batting third. You got to put him down in the 6-7 hole. Let him work on his swing, something. Because you can't dismiss the guy, right? Rooker, he's batting 283 in May. He had 3 homers, 10 RBIs. He's 283, right? He was batting 114. Cortez, he didn't factor. He only got 6 at bats. He still sports a 343 average, but these are regular ABs. They've dropped his average and his effectiveness. He's coming back to the pack. They should have rode him a little harder. You know what I mean? Maybe got a little more out of him because now you're going to get the 250 Cortez, right? I don't know who to blame. Either it's just Cortez or and he just excelled at the beginning, or maybe Katse should have left him alone, right? McNeil, he was only 1 for 7 with a double. He's hitting just 250 in May, so he's tapered down. We knew that was going to happen. Geloff, he's batting 308 in May. Double, triple, 4 home runs. Leads the team. 9 RBIs. Dude is here to stay. You're not gonna dump him now. You're gonna bring somebody else back up just for dump him back down. Not a chance. Not now. Colby Thomas. What the hell happened with this guy? This guy's great. He has hits in 8 of 11 games that he's played in. He's 10 for 27. He's batting 357. These aren't huge numbers, but every time we bring him in, he gets a hit. He's like, I don't know, Manny Mota, pinch hitting for Pedro. You know what I mean? He always seems to get hits when we bring him in. He doesn't care that he comes off the bench. Got a double and a home run, couple walks, 3 RBIs. Doing great. Finally, Henry freaking Bolte. He went 3 for 6. He batted 500. So tell me he doesn't belong here. I know it's a short sample, but it's nice, right? He had his first ever hit, first ever RBI, first ever walk, first ever stolen base. That's not a bad series. That's not a bad first series in the show, right? Next up is the Giants. I penciled in. We're going to win 2-3. Pretty much because they play us tough. We should sweep them. I'll be honest. We should sweep them. But I do pencil them in as 2-3. They're minus 42 in run differential, but they have batting averages. ERAs are similar. Matchups are similar to the A's. So they're not going to be pushovers by any stretch. Historically, 77-77 regular season against the Giants, the A's and Giants, head-to-head. Playoffs, we're a little bit better, right? Maybe the 89 series. 13-7 in the playoffs. So we've got a little bit of history on them. But we'll see. That's all I have. Relax, guys. We have obviously raised our expectations of this team. If we are irritated at first place right now, if we got guys complaining and moaning, and we're actually in first place, what are we talking here? We're fine, right? I will see you Sunday. Peace.